All this time you've been fighting the wrong war. You think this battle is about the dishes, the money, the sex, or that thing she said to you in 2017 that you just can't let go of. You've spent years arguing your case in your own head, gathering evidence, building a fortress of resentment brick by bitter brick. You're exhausted. You feel unseen. You feel justified. And now you're sitting there with a stack of papers that promises you one thing: peace, and end to the fight. But you're not the first man to sit in that exact chair. There are generally two kinds of men who get to this point. The first is the man who is truly, undeniably done. He has looked inward. He has taken absolute, brutal accountability for his half of the wreckage. He has tried to fix it. And he has accepted that the shared story is over. He signs the papers with a grim, quiet certainty. He's sad, but he's solid. And then there's the second man. This man is just reacting. He's not solid. He's shattered. He's not certain. He's desperate. He's not signing out of acceptance. He's signing out of spite. He's signing to make a point, to finally win the argument by burning the whole stadium down. He's signing because he thinks this piece of paper is a magical game over button that will finally prove he was right all along. Before you touch that pen to that line, you have to know with cold certainty which one of those men you are. Because one of them walks away and builds a new life. The other one just carries the same war into a new battlefield. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to look past the noise, the anger, and the bullshit, and finally decide what you're actually fighting for. Let's be clear. That stack of paper in front of you is a legal document, not a victory flag. You're staring at it thinking, this is it. This will make it stop. This will finally give me relief. That's the first lie you're telling yourself. You think this document is an off switch for the pain. It's not. It's an accelerant. You're not finishing a war. You're about to go nuclear. You think the arguments are bad now? Wait until the lawyers get involved. Wait until you're not arguing about who forgot to take out the trash, but who gets the house you built, the friends you shared, and the time you have with your kids. Wait until every text message is screened by a legal team looking for leverage. Wait until the person you once loved is incentivized financially to paint you as an incompetent, unstable monster. The peace you're craving doesn't come from a judge's signature. It doesn't come from winning the argument or getting the better end of the financial split. That's a child's understanding of conflict. You're not looking for peace. You're looking for a shortcut from the pain. And this is not a shortcut. This is a detour through hell. And the only variable you control is the man you decide to be while you're walking through it. You've spent so long focusing on her, what she did, what she said, what she failed to do, that you've completely forgotten to look at the only person in the room you can actually change: you. Right now, your entire identity is wrapped up in being the husband who is right. It's a bitter, exhausting, and fragile identity. You're clinging to it because you think if you let it go, it means you lost. It means you were wrong. So you sit there, pen in hand, ready to sacrifice your future just to protect your ego in the present. The question isn't, should I sign this? The question is, who am I if I'm no longer the one fighting her? That question probably terrifies you. Who am I if not her husband? Because for years you've been a man running on a hidden script. A script you wrote, directed, and starred in, and you're furious that she refused to learn her lines. It's called a covert contract. You walked into this marriage with a list of unspoken expectations. I will be the provider, I will work the long hours, I will be the rock, I will handle the finances, I will mow the lawn. And in exchange, you expected her to... what, exactly? Read your mind, be endlessly grateful, never complain, initiate sex just the way you like, exactly when you're in the mood, always see you as the hero. You never said it. You never once sat down and said, look, here's the deal. My emotional availability will be limited. I will communicate in grunts, and in return, you will worship me and meet my every unexpressed need. You didn't say it because, said aloud, It sounds pathetic. It sounds needy. And you're not allowed to be needy. You're the man. So you just expected it. And for every time she failed to live up to your secret rule book, you added another brick to the wall. You didn't communicate your disappointment. You demonstrated it. You got quiet. You retreated to the garage. You stayed late at work. You sighed heavily when she walked in the room. This is the game you've been playing. You're not angry she wants a divorce. You're enraged that she's refusing to validate a contract she never signed. You're furious that she's calling you out on a game you thought you were winning. Signing those papers in this state isn't an act of freedom. It's the ultimate act of passive aggression. It's the toddler flipping the board game over because he's losing. You're not ending the marriage. You're just trying to have the last word. You're trying to punish her for not being the character you wrote for her. This is why you're fantasizing about the next woman. You're sitting there, pen in hand, and you're not even in the room. You're in a different apartment, a different city, with a different, more grateful, feminine, easier woman. You're imagining a life where you're finally appreciated. This is the biggest lie a man in your position can tell himself. Let me tell you who that new woman meets. She doesn't meet the real you. She meets your representative, the charming, put-together, I've got it all figured out version you roll out for the first 6 months. And underneath that mask, the same man is lurking. The man who doesn't know how to ask for what he needs. The man who confuses providing with connecting. The man who builds walls out of silent resentment. You won't have a new life. You will just infect a new relationship with the same disease. The disease isn't her. The disease is your inability to be a whole, vulnerable and accountable human being. You're not running from a bad marriage. You're running from yourself. And you are the one person. You can never, ever divorce. You can change the scenery, you can change the cast, but the protagonist is the same. And until the protagonist figures his own shit out, every sequel is going to have the exact same ending. You think this signature ends the pain? It's just a ticket to repeat it. It's Groundhog Day, and you're the only one who doesn't see the pattern. The only thing that signature guarantees is that your problems, your avoidance, and your unprocessed anger become your exclusive property. You're not just divorcing her. You are divorcing the life you knew. You're divorcing the identity of a husband. You're divorcing the guy who comes home to that house, who sits in that chair, who sees those kids every single night. You're divorcing the future you planned, the assumptions you held, the social circle you shared. You think you've calculated the cost. You've looked at the bank accounts. You've thought, okay, I'll take a financial hit, but it's worth it for the freedom. You haven't calculated anything. You're a man about to jump out of a plane, and you've only checked the price of the ticket. You haven't checked for a parachute. The silence you're craving, the peace, it has another name. It's called loneliness. That first Saturday night when the kids are with her, and the apartment you've rented is filled with second-hand furniture that smells like someone else's life. That's when it hits. The silence isn't peaceful. It's deafening. And it's in that silence that all the things you've been running from, your anger, your sadness, your deep, profound fear, are waiting for you. They're sitting in the chair across from you. You can't blame her for them anymore. You can't retreat to the garage. You can't use "I'm busy with work" as an excuse. It's just you and your own bullshit in a small, quiet room. This is the reality of what you're about to sign. You're not signing up for freedom. You're signing up for a mandatory one-on-one confrontation with yourself. And what about your why? You've built a beautiful, intricate story in your head where you are the victim, the noble, unappreciated man who just tried so hard. That story works well in your own head. It works well when you're venting to your one friend who always takes your side. Now, prepare to tell that story to a judge. Prepare to have it cross-examined by her lawyer, who will take your narrative, rip it to shreds, and paint you as the villain. The things you thought were reasonable will be framed as controlling. Your need to focus on work will be framed as neglect and abandonment. Your quiet processing will be framed as stonewalling and emotional abuse. You think you know the truth? You're about to enter a world where the only truth is what can be proven. and it will cost you $200 an hour just to argue about it. So let's go back to that pen. You're sitting there, ready to sign. You're still holding on to that spark of hope that this is the answer, that this will make you happy, this is the moment of truth. Are you signing this document to create a new future, or are you signing it to punish the past? Are you acting, or are you reacting? If you are signing this because you genuinely, with 100% brutal honesty, believe that you and she are fundamentally incompatible, that you have looked at your own darkness and taken accountability for it, and that you are incapable of becoming the man you want to be while you're with her, then sign it. Sign it and don't look back. But if there is any part of you, any small whispering voice that is signing this to show her, to win, to escape your own work, or because you think it's a magic reset button, then put the pen down. Put the pen down and understand what that means. It doesn't mean you've lost. It doesn't mean you've given in. It doesn't mean you're sentenced to another 10 years of the same cold silences and bitter arguments. Putting the pen down means you finally decided to stop being a coward. Because signing those papers in anger is the coward's way out. It's the ultimate act of avoidance. It's you, a grown man, running away from the final boss battle of your own life, the one with yourself. The real challenge, the truly courageous, terrifying masculine act, it's to stay. Not stay and hope, not stay and blame, not stay and wait for her to change, but to stay and burn, to stay and look at the wreckage of the life you built, and finally, for the first time, ask the only question that matters. How much of this fire is my fault? You have to be willing to do the work, with zero guarantee that it will save your marriage. This is the part that breaks most men. What if I do all this, and she still leaves? She might. That's the risk. You can't control her. You've been trying to for years, and look where it got you. The only point of this work is to save you. You have to want to become an undivided, accountable, powerful man more than you want to be right. You have to be willing to walk into that living room, not with a list of her failures, but with a full public confession of yours, not as a strategy, not as a manipulation, but as a surrender, an admission. I have failed you. I have been distant. I have been angry. I have been avoidant. I have hidden behind my work. I have resented you in silence. I have punished you for not reading my mind, and I have no idea if I can fix it, but I am willing to try. You want to see terror? Don't look at the divorce papers. Look at the face of a man who is about to say that to his wife. That is real courage. That is the warrior's path. Everything you've done up to this point, the provider, the protector, the rock, that was the easy part. That was playing a role. This is about your soul. This is about dismantling the entire fake structure you've built and seeing what's left. It's about finding out if the man you want to be can exist in the same house as the man you were. Maybe it can't. Maybe it is too late. Maybe the damage is done, the respect is gone, and the only path forward is out. But you don't get to make that call until you've done the work. You don't get to quit the game just because you finally realized you were playing it wrong. Before you sign anything, you have to give yourself one last chance. A chance to see if you can become the man who wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. A man who isn't a reactor, but an owner. A man who doesn't build walls, but builds a self. Because whether you stay or whether you go, that's the only man who's going to survive what comes next. You can sign those papers as the same shattered, angry, blame-filled man you are today, and doom yourself to repeat this exact failure. Or you can put the pen down, walk into the fire, and forge a man who is incapable of being broken, whether he's married or whether he's not. The choice was never about her. It's always been about you. Don't sign the papers because you're done. Sign them if, and only if, you've finally begun. Subscribe now because the world doesn't need more broken men reacting to their pain. It needs more whole men who own it,